What's going on, everybody?
Hey, y'all!
Yeah, we are back. Yes, it's Drinks and Conversation.
The podcast.
Yes, and I am Intro Picks, and I'm always in the building.
And I'm oxytocin, and it's always going down.
What's going on, Oxytocin?
You know it is what it is. What's going on with you, Intro Picks?
Well, you know, we got an inauguration coming up, so I'm not too happy about that, but, you know. It is what it is.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. We got new things.
Can't do nothing about it.
We can't do nothing about it. But we got a special guest in the building today.
We do.
We got Concept in the building. What's up, brother?
What up? What's going on, y'all? Concept in the building. I'm so excited to be here. You know, I probably can't even put that into proper words, but I just want to say thank y'all for having me. It's a pleasure.
Man,
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for coming through.
Exactly.
And thank you. You are our guest.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to thank you.
We are guests.
So, Concept, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a native Washingtonian.
Speak a little bit into the mic.
I'm a native Washingtonian, and I'm also a budding artist. I'm an aspiring artist, and I have a label right now that I'm trying to cultivate and groom. It's called Crystal Nation.
All right.
And we can actually get into the reason behind the name Crystal for a second, because that's probably one of the most interesting things to me about the label. You know, when they initially referred to Christians in biblical days as Christians, the early derivative of that was Christu, which actually meant of Christ or like Christ. So it was a mockery that they were given to the people to say of Christ, like Christ. Oh, basically you think you little Christ. Like they were just trying to call them all, you know, biters. You out here biting his swag.
Got you.
So this is a Christian label, or
I would have to say that's kind of undefined right now. I mean, you know, for me as an artist, I'm absolutely committed to gospel rap. Like that's my platform and that's where I focus. If I was to come across an artist that was committed to a message that I felt uplifted the people and had positivity as the center focus of it, I can't say that I wouldn't bring them to the table because they weren't necessarily a gospel artist. You know, I mean, I feel like sometimes when you try to limit people that much, you can block their ministry to other people as well. So you can reach people without having the central focus on it. For me and my music, that's what I'm committed to.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. How long have you been doing music?
So as an artist, I would say maybe the past 3 years or so is when I started being serious as an artist. Prior to that, it was all just production. You know, I think that probably like everybody who was around during the college dropout, you started buying into that dream a little bit of, oh, I don't have to go the traditional route. You know, I can do things my own way. So I was definitely the kid that was like, oh man, I'm not going to college right now because I got other dreams I want to make happen.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question about when you say as a gospel artist or a Christian artist, Christian rap artist. Okay, so typically to the people that's out there, I mean, what do you typically rap about? Are you saying no cursing, or are you saying that specifically my genre of music is just dedicated to praising God, or more in a religious, you know, body frame of work?
I would have to say it's both, because I don't curse in my music. But at the same time, you know, I think unfortunately, one of the negative stigmas that sits over Christian rap is that it has to be this holier than thou, fire and brimstone kind of message where, you know, you feel like you're being told if you don't do X, Y, and Z, then you're unacceptable, you know, from the societal eye. And to me, that's not what your Christian walk is about. That's not what your faith is about. It's really about filtering through the different struggles and challenges that you have and trying to incorporate God into that every step of the way. It doesn't mean that you're any more clean or more righteous than anybody else. It's just that you're committed to making sure that when you try to overcome obstacles in life, you're trying to incorporate Christ into that full on. So that's what the music is about, and that's what I talk about. It's, you know, I think that, you know, again, tying back into that stigma that I think looms over hip hop or gospel hip hop, is that it has to be a certain message, when the idea is, no, you're just supposed to incorporate God into everyday life. So I talk about everyday life. You You know, things that I've gone through, things that I've experienced, things that I've seen, or even different stories that can be conveyed in a different way. You know,
so your personal story, basically. You talk about your personal story and it reflects in your lyrics and things like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you think the state of hip hop is right now, especially when it comes down to your particular genre of music?
I think that it's hurting and it's sad because, you know, you can, and I was thinking about that. I'm glad you asked that question because I'm just like, you know, we've never had a record on mainstream radio, hip hop in particular, where artists like myself or Lecrae or Tadashi or Trip Lee, Pro, Thizzle, Flame, Bizzle, Bumps, Inf, Gemstones. I mean, you could Andy Mineo. You could go on for a long time. There's a lot of Christian rappers out there that are killing it.
What you think? What about Kirk Franklin?
I love Andy. He's not a rapper.
I mean, he's not a rapper, but I mean, he pushed that envelope.
He opened the door. He definitely opened the door, and that's why everybody else is walking through it right now. But he's talking about Christian rappers.
Okay.
Right.
So that's a big difference.
But what I will say is I'm thankful for the role that somebody like Kirk Franklin plays in how they're able to influence and impact the hip hop market. Because you get, I mean, just on the life of Pablo, on Ultralight Beam, you know, the prayer that he had at the end, I thought that was so powerful. I think the song as a whole was powerful, but I think it was powerful that a mainstream artist like Kanye,
but he's not a Christian rapper.
He's not.
But listen.
But what happened is he believes in God. He has a faith, and at the end of the day, whether or not his music is committed to that, he can't run from or hide from the fact that that's who he is. Like, that's a part of him that can't escape him. That's also a part of the platform that he stepped into when he came into the game. Jesus walks with one of his biggest records.
That's a lot of rappers, but that's everybody. I think sometimes when you say that you're a Christian, people expect certain things of you. We also have to remember that even myself, I'm a Christian in progress. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? So I'm going to slip and I'm going to slide. And I feel like that's what Kanye kind of represents with everything that's going on in his life. So I do kind of understand what you're trying to say, and I absolutely get it. But I also understand your point of view. Like, if you identify with a Christian rapper, you hold them to a different esteem versus somebody else.
Because that's how you identify yourself. Because then you would just say, I'm a rapper, and I just speak from my life experience. I mean, because you look at somebody like Will Smith. He didn't curse in his raps. He wasn't in, you know, it wasn't sex, drugs, and all of that hypeness.
Absolutely.
But he wasn't proclaimed as a Christian rapper.
You know what that just reminded me of? I'm so sorry. It's completely left. But when Eminem was like, Will Smith don't got to curse in his rap to sell records. Well, I do. So F him and F you too. Hey, that's so funny. I'm sorry. Okay, but back to what we were talking about.
And so, okay, but tying into what you were talking about, is it that those artists, like somebody like a Will Smith, that they wouldn't have considered doing gospel rap, or is it that they chose to be a general rapper because they felt like stepping on that particular platform was going to be unacceptable?
I don't think it's that. I mean, because they would still be doing the same thing. I mean, whether they label themselves a Christian rapper or not, the music that they produce, or in this specific instance that he produced, I think the music would have still been the same. You know what I'm saying?
For him, I think it would have been the same. I mean, I don't recall any song from Will Smith telling me to, follow the Father or pray, or in a way that Lecrae's album told you to. He clearly declares who we know who his Father is in Jesus Christ and who he is in Christ. And I didn't get that at all with Will Smith. So Will Smith is just positive, which is great. But I think there is a difference when you start throwing out your religion and talking about your beliefs. And I like that, and I appreciate that. But there is a difference, especially when it comes to Christianity. There's a fine line. You're on one side or you're not. You can't walk. You can try to walk it, but you can't do it for too long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I definitely appreciate what you bring to the table and what you represent. And as far as doing the music, how have you been feeling doing it so far? What does it do for you?
It's been therapeutic. It's helped me to tap into who I am and explore myself. And I feel like it's also helped to take my walk with Christ to new depths, because it challenged me to open up to different ideas about songs and to step into places of uncomfortability to bring and try to convey a certain message, talk about certain issues, and kind of type like kind of walking a tightrope, that line that we were just referring to, where like there are issues that you may want to address in your life, and depending on how you package it, you may be viewed as a saint or a sinner. And it's a difficult thing to do, but the truth is that those are all issues that need to be talked about and discussed. And if it wasn't for somebody choosing to do it, even if they were going to fail, then there wouldn't be anybody else that's going to do it either. There's a little boy, a little girl somewhere who has this idea running through their mind, and if it wasn't for seeing myself or Lecrae or Triple E or those kind of artists, they may not do it.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about your upbringing. So, I mean, are you from a real strict Christian household? Like what was your upbringing like? Like what invoked you to be more into Christianity where you want to do it with this particular talent?
So as far as upbringing, I mean, I think my upbringing was kind of similar to anybody's. I wouldn't say it was strict in particular or out of the average per se, but I mean, my mom is definitely a believer, and with her being a single mom, one of the places that she wanted us was in church. And I'm thankful for that, because I think that I was probably like a lot of others in the sense that was something I wanted to fight. I was like, dang, why we gotta be there on Tuesday for choir practice and Wednesday for Bible study? I'm not trying to go to summer camp at church this summer, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't necessarily enjoy it as much as a youth, but I understood the value so much more later on. And I think that that's what helped me to make my decision to answer your question, because it was like, when I first started producing, there wasn't any religious fuel behind it. It was just like, my favorite producers, I wanted to be like them. So that lifestyle that I saw, cars, money, girls, big home, a comfortable lifestyle, living in the lap of luxury, that was all I was chasing. And it wasn't really until I just had a come to Jesus moment where
Oh, I don't know what just happened right there, but that was going to be my question for you. I understand you asked him about his upbringing and, what was his upbringing. He talked about your mom being a believer, but when did you make that decision, or what was it about you, or what happened in your life, or what probably that made you say, okay, you know what, I want to give my life to Christ. I am a Christian and I want to live my life as such.
Well, I was raised in church, so I think from early on, I had an idea of the value behind a life with Christ, and it was never anything that I felt ashamed of or felt like this isn't cool. I think it just had to do with making a personal decision later on in my adult years, because I mean, I had my years where I wilded out and I was partying and I was doing whatever, and it just started to feel unsatisfying. I felt like if I had to think about what my life was going to be in a couple of sentences at the end of it all, is it going to be something worth reading? Wow. So that meant that the work behind your life had to be worthwhile too.
Preach, Doc.
I know.
So, I mean, it just became, it just became my focal point. I like I said earlier when we were doing the pre-show stream, my brother, I thought that was another big thing that popped in my head. Like, am I going to be comfortable bumping my records around my brother and feel like I'm comfortable with him running around saying woody whoop, whatever?
Absolutely.
You want to produce quality stuff that's going to live for a long time and actually show you in a positive light.
And be a good representation. I think sometimes people have talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I think you're that one person that wants to be someone who walks the walk, but also talks the talk, and that's great.
I know that's right. Absolutely. Well, we're glad to have you here, Concept.
Absolutely. And we're glad to get your opinion on certain things. There's one thing I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to bring it up last week, but I said, you know what? We have you coming on the show, so I was going to save that to discuss with you, and just nothing too crazy or anything, but I definitely want to discuss that with you. So it'll come out later on. But we're going to jump into Obama. His farewell. Obama.
That's somebody that's walking the walk and talking the talk. You hear me?
Yes, and he only has a few days left in office. How are you feeling right now, Concept?
I think that we've learned so much from him as an example, as a representative of what we can be. Prior to him coming into office and his administration, you had the idea or the notion that you can be whatever you want to be. But then when you had somebody in front of you that embodied and became especially in a position like the president of the United States of America.
States.
You know, like that's a big seat to be in, and for a lot of Black Americans, I say in particular Black males, given who we discussing, I think that was a big deal because even when we look at our entertainment industry, we see a high concentration of entertainers and athletes. And that's it. Whether you a rapper or an actor, you're still an entertainer.
What they show us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So to have somebody walk in that kind of arena with such poise and excellence and to really kill it, and especially in the face of so much hate, when you wake up every day and you got people looking at you like, I do not want you to make it, and I hope that you fail.
He faced a lot of adversity as president.
And he gave I was just telling this a coworker of mine that he gave that face of elegance for us because we have a stereotype of being ghetto and
quick to fly off the handle,
do all of that, neck rolling and this and that, and the Obamas, they weren't, and they definitely kept their prestige very high, and you don't see that, and that is something. That's the ideal essence of presidential, and
presidential.
Yeah, and that has helped, I think, our community a lot, especially growing up as a Black man. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely a great role model to model yourself. What would Obama do? That's it.
I still think that asking like what would Jesus do is probably the
better
reference.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I will say though
right.
is like I don't think that it's a coincidence that the same way that Christ faced so much persecution in his effort to bring positivity and a better way and a better path to the world around him.
Okay.
I think that's the connection between Christ and Obama, which I think is cool, especially, like you said, given the fact that growing up in a community where, or in a society rather, where us as Black are often seen, even when the election, we heard the term super predator. Right, so that was a label that was slapped on Black males across the board. But to see somebody complete opposite,
but I think that was kind of made up because the simple fact of she said that way back in the day, and it was just kind of like
back
recycled.
When they was locking everybody
but
up
we
for
didn't really think that much about it at the time. We wasn't thinking. Thought you were talking about Predator versus Alien. The movie might have been coming out 2012. I don't know, but it's like, come on, like that was kind of like recycled. But at the same time, they are. It's a lot of cold words out there, but, specifically for us.
To me, it would be like, is it relevant though? Like, are the views relevant? Like, people, you ever heard the saying when people show you who they are, believe them?
Yeah, I say that all the time.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, whether it was something that was recycled or not, I still feel like it completely had the views of the individual that made the statement. And I think that that's something that gets masked when you get into politics, because at the end of the day, you got a lot of people trying to hide who they are because they lobbying for a job.
Yeah, politics is a dirty game, though. I think you go into politics, but we all know what it's about, especially the people going into it. So
it's about power.
They know what it's about.
Okay, we seen House of Cards. I was on it for a quick episode.
I ain't seen House of Cards, but you definitely brought up something, persecution. I wanted to talk to you about. Her name just skipped my head, but I know you know who I'm talking about. Christian artist who was caught saying something.
Kim Burrell.
I'm so mad that I forgot her name, but I mean, I don't want to talk about what she said.
Right.
Everybody already knows what she said. That's not what I want to talk about.
Right.
What I want to talk about is the backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the punishment fits the crime? Do you feel as though she's being persecuted right now? How do you feel of, the consequences per se? And I say, in quotations around consequences for what she said.
Mm-hmm. I do think that she's being persecuted, and I think that she's getting bashed. Now, I think that why she's getting bashed is a bigger issue altogether, because I think that people are looking at the comments that she made, and they're thinking that they're fueled with hate against a certain community, right? Now, that to me, that addresses her lifestyle. That's her faith, and she's walking based in concepts and precepts that she feel apply to her that were given to her by God. Now, those same concepts and precepts still have written in them that you're supposed to accept and love people regardless of who they are, their flaws.
Absolutely.
That's everybody.
And I think that's what makes the conversation so contradictory, because of the simple fact that they say that as a Christian, you are supposed to be loving and caring and judgmental free.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you help your neighbor, but at the same time, you're kind of discriminating against a certain
But
group
at the
of people.
same time, do you feel like she has a right to feel all those ways? We're so multifaceted. I mean, I could be the sweetest person Monday, then be an itch Tuesday, then just be feeling blood. Like, we just change.
But that's like
We're so
saying that you
different.
could like me on Monday and not like me on Tuesday.
But that's true. I can like you on Monday and not like
But
you
doesn't
on
mean that we
Tuesday.
gonna get to like each other on Wednesday, because you already showed me that you don't like me. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't.
I think she just said she didn't like what they were doing. Not necessarily she didn't like them as a person. It wasn't direct. It wasn't to any one individual. It was a blanket general statement about something that, or some stuff that people engage in. I do feel like she feels the same way about other negative things. My thing is, you know, we talk about freedom of speech. We talk about you being able to say what you want to say.
You can.
In the same breath that she's saying whatever, you know, she wants to say. I mean, I feel like, why can't we let her have that when we have a president-elect who has said a lot of crazy
But
things
here's
and
the
no
thing.
one
Let me
keeps
say
saying
this real
anything
quick.
about him?
But here's the thing. When it comes to, we do have the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is basically saying you can say what you want to say without getting arrested or getting your freedoms taken away from you. Now, you can say whatever you want to say, but if you get punched in the face, that's the backlash that you get. So therefore, you can say whatever you want to say. But you gotta have judgment.
To award show, like, she's just going through a lot right now,
And when we
it's,
talk
it's
about,
too much.
Because
talk
of what
about,
you say,
like the crime fitting the punishment, I think that it's
no,
not.
it's so unbalanced.
Right, because like if you were to take somebody like Ellen and have her say, if she was to Christian bash publicly, right? I don't think that the world that we know it would stand for a bunch of hate towards her because of that.
They would. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's not always that way, but that's why a lot of people that's why you get backlash, because majority of people feel as though it's attacking them or whatever the case.
Majority of people misunderstood. I think that's a lot. She was misunderstood.
But you can't say it's a violation of your freedom of speech, or that there's anything.
For you to get fired because of it, for them to tell you that you're going to be honored somewhere and then say, oh, no, you can't come. I don't want you to come anymore.
Yes,
right.
And that's why you have to watch. Listen, if you're at work and you say, hey, Tosin, you got a fat ass today, and you go to HR, because of what I said, therefore it's a backlash. And if I get fired, that's the repercussions because of what I say. What you say has power. I
agree. What you do say have power.
It has power, and it travels.
But I would have liked for her and Ellen to dialogue, not just, oh, you can't come on a show. Talk about it.
But you said how you feel, and just like you said, if you show me who you are, I believe you. So if you get out here and you make a statement and you say, this is my beliefs. Hold on, this is my beliefs. The same person that has the right to say, listen, you believe this way, I don't believe that way because you're talking about me. So therefore, I don't choose to have anything to do with you. That's my right. You know what I'm saying? That's.
I mean, I think that you can choose to not be involved with people, but at the end of the day, when we're talking about equality in this situation, I don't think that there's any equality that exists. Because I don't think that there's any equality that exists in that, because you're talking about one person who made a statement that was perceived to be charged with hate, and the same hate was reciprocated, and it's like she's in the wrong for saying that, but she's only standing up for her beliefs. And if the people that felt offended by the statement stood up for their beliefs, which does happen, then there wouldn't be this backlash. I don't think that it's even playing field. And I'm also not saying that I'm not here to judge anybody. In my own personal life, I have gay friends, and we have had conversations about the views of what's right and wrong. How do you think God looks at me? At the end of the day, I have a really interesting theory internally on like the whole notion of like, do you choose it or are you born with it? But my responsibility is in loving that person and standing by them through the trials and tribulations.
So why can't you say that as a person? Listen, you know, when you're on a celebrity type of status and you have a lot of following, doesn't matter, you have a certain type of responsibility, right? And it's all on how you use your responsibility and your platform. Now, if you say something that offends a lot of people, and things like that, yes, you may be standing up for your beliefs and you stand firm in that, like you should. But at the same time, you can't get mad when you get a backlash because other people don't feel that same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, a lot of times, it's with the changing of the times, basically.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
These times are special.
It's with the changing of the times. You just have to know, like, if you really believe in equality and you really believe in justice for all and all those type of things for everybody, you wouldn't have a problem with that. You would say, listen, you choose to do what you choose to do. I'm going to choose to do what I choose to do. And I'm going to stand firm in my beliefs. But I can't judge you because you choose to do things like that. Other than probably being a murderer or a killer or something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Molester.
you can't.
I still believe the punishment does not fit the crime. I still wish her the best. I mean, she's going through a lot right now. And I just pray for her.
Listen, ain't nobody say nothing about Paula Dean when she was doing all
I'm
this
sure
stuff.
they was praying for her. I felt
What
bad.
about accepting her or like mercy towards Paula Dean?
I mean, Paula Dean was a whole different story.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like,
She
That's
was
a whole
an aggressive
different
direct
story.
hate.
That's a whole.
Now we
different
talk
story.
about, look, who's your best friend intro pick?
I got a couple of best friends.
I need one. You can only
I got
tell
a
me
couple.
one.
We're gonna say AJ. AJ. 's one of my
AJ,
best
shout out
friends.
to AJ, best friend concept. Who's your best friend?
So, oh man, I got
One.
Oh man. Can
I
I
have to
say
put somebody on the spot? Go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm like, because that means I gotta apologize to my other besties after. But
No,
oh,
you
yeah.
don't. There's
Sorry.
levels of bestie. You're just not number one. Sorry.
I would say that one of my best friends is my friend Dominique.
Dominique, shout out to Dominique. And my best friend, as everyone know, it's only one. Norma, my honey.
I thought I was your best friend.
You're my male best friend. She's my girl best
okay,
friend. And
okay,
since you're already
okay.
here, I
Oh,
just
you
went with the girl best
you
friend.
gendifying
Yeah, my best
it
friends
now.
are gender based.
Ah,
Exactly.
okay.
No, but I
All
definitely
right.
want to talk about the bromance between Obama and Biden.
That's not a bromance.
It is a bromance. That's his brother. He calls him his brother.
But that's
like,
not a bromance.
It's a bromance. They love each other. A bromance is
But
when
that's
two
not a
males
bromance.
are really, really cool. They are. Did you see the little bromance video? They have a
That's
great
not a
relationship.
bromance.
It is a
That's
bromance.
buddies. That's best
no,
friends.
that's a bro.
No, a
man.
bromance is where like you do like weird shit together. Like
No.
you're always in the gym together. You're always around each
They're
other.
always in
Right,
the
you're
White House
always-
together.
No, they work.
They're always in the
That's
White
his
House
boss.
together.
That's a
They
job.
always wear aviators together.
It's a bromance.
They run
like,
through the hallways
No.
together. They have a bromance,
No.
and they're so cute.
I think
And I
that-
thought it was so
What you know about a
cute.
bromance? What do you think?
How?
Am I right?
I think I gotta side with Julian on this one because I think it's just that they have a very strong and successful work relationship, which is really cool. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's great to see. But I wouldn't say it's that because like when it comes to seeing Vice President Biden and how he handles his family, like I think that he's very particular and specific with how he handles it. I think he just tries to keep his family life and his private life private, and he understands his public platform,
Yeah, platform. Yeah.
I still think
I
they
agree.
have a bromance.
I don't think
and
they
I
have a
love
bromance.
it.
It's not a
It's cool.
bromance.
I thought it was so sweet how Obama surprised him with the Presidential Medal of
Oh
Freedom.
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did
But
you
that's something
see?
you do for your best man. Like that's like he's
I
his
thought it was
best
so
man. Like
sweet.
right now
And
in
he
life,
surprised
that
him.
would be like his best
He
man.
knew
Like that's something
absolutely
that
nothing
you do
about it.
for your best
Pulled his
man.
little hanky out his pocket and the tears
Oh my
were coming
God,
out
see.
his eyes. It was so emotional. I felt it all as if I was right there and I was like pinned to both of them.
No, it wasn't
I
emotional.
felt
Because it could be
It
real cool.
was.
I mean, okay, it's like this. It's like if you have somebody at work that you real tight with, right? Like you could be real tight with them and y'all have a great relationship. And if things fall off,
He talking about us.
so
I don't know you.
no, I'm just. It could be a very intimate relationship on a friendship level, and not, you know what I'm saying, not be like that weird kind of bromance effect on it. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the
But
day,
why do you guys label romance as weird? I don't think I see it the same way you guys see it. Because when you say you're like weird no, I don't see it as weird or bromance. So what is the bromance to you guys? I think we're thinking differently.
Okay, tell him. You give your explanation of what a bromance is.
Okay, so to me, a bromance is when like you and your guy is super tight, and it's almost awkward to like borderline. You think that there might be some sort of underlying intimacy behind the relationship where it's like a blurred or muddy line. Like I'm just saying, like to me that's how I perceive it.
And that could be the way on outside looking in, but I think a bromance is when your brothers, and not really like real brothers, but you're so close that you're almost like a couple in a sense, meaning that you do shit together. You wake like both of y'all eating cereal on the day, watching football. Both of y'all like to go to the same. Y'all dress almost alike. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we together so much. So but it ain't nothing like that. That's just my boy. That's just like my homie.
Definition of a bromance.
You looked at it. I hope this is not what ghettodictionary.com.
No, it's the real definition.
Black Urban Dictionary.
Okay, it's a short definition, a longer definition. But basically, it's a close, non-sexual relationship between two men, and that's what Obama and Biden have.
They have a close
non-sexual. It's not, dude. It's non-sexual.
Here's what I think when I refer to like kind of like the awkward stigma behind it. So imagine if me and Jay sitting there watching the game somewhere, and somebody come up and they like, bro, I can't believe you're here watching the game with him. Why aren't you watching it with me? Because they could, you know what I'm saying? It's like if that's the person that you have the bromance with, and it's like y'all are so tight, y'all do everything together, and they have this expectation, like stuff like that we do. We watch the game together, and they get upset about it. That's awkward.
That's a clingy, possessive friend. That's not a bromance. That's a crazy person. But
I agree. But I feel like
that reminds me of. Do you guys watch Big Brother?
I don't watch Big Brother.
None of y'all don't watch Big Brother.
I don't
watch the greatest reality TV.
I have to watch web series. I'm sorry.
It's on the web too. And actually,
but I like web series.
Okay, so Big Brother, we talked about Big Brother on this show before.
We did.
And Big Brother is like a live reality show, and they're stuck in a house for I think about 3 months or so, and they do competitions, and the last person that's in the house actually wins like $500,000. Now this is a big franchise, and they have Big Brother versions of Australia, Europe. They have all across the world. So Ray J is in one of these Big Brother episodes. Brandy's brother. You know, he's still on a reality show. So he's on the reality show Big Brother. So apparently now when you're stuck in this house, you have no contact with the outside world. So basically you have to stay there for that 3 months. So his tooth was hurting. Now you know how bad a tooth could be. And I mean, sometimes it could end your whole life. You be like, wow.
That's
true.
You
so he's saying, so he complained about his tooth and this and that. He tried to tough it out for a couple of days, but then he wound up kind of like blacking out because he hit a nerve or something like that. Okay, so he wound up going to the hospital, and Big Brother wouldn't let him back into the house
because they have rules.
And he's thinking about suing.
I mean, he signed a contract. I'm sure that it was in the contract that if you leave, you can't come back.
But this is for medical attention.
But I mean, I'm saying though, did you believe him or do you think it was all a show? Because Ray J is just full of shenanigans.
I mean, that is.
So I mean, do you think he was really?
Now I've seen them on Big Brother actually have people go to the hospital and come back to the show. You know, I've seen that happen.
Right, I'm like, hold on, we got injustice going on.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was the white people in the show. But, you know, that was season 8. But look, that was back then. The rules probably might have changed. So, I don't know, like, what the deal is as far as that. But
or maybe they wanted him gone.
That could be it. Try to mask it, guys it.
Yes.
It happens.
You finally gave us a reason.
Big Brother, y'all. It come on every summer.
I know people were going on him because he just kept on talking about Kim Kardashian in that sex tape. That's all I heard about him being on that show, is that he kept referencing it. But I feel like if you're married to another woman and you're supposed to love her, why are you even bringing that old stuff up? I would be upset if I was your wife, and yet you just can't feel the need to let go of this sex tape that you did umpteen years ago. I mean, that's a problem.
Well, people keep bringing it up for him.
That.
I mean, people.
No, but I heard he was doing a great job of that himself.
I mean, guess what? That was one. I mean, he probably still earning checks from that. I
don't
know. But you know, but the thing about it is, I mean, sex tapes. It seems like sex tapes are becoming like the wave now.
But they're so played. And then you got to think about it. Let me tell you, it may be cool now when you're young and you don't have no children.
Right.
And you don't have no responsibilities. But when you get older, it's definitely going to be embarrassing.
And you got to explain to your grandkids, you know.
Why your ass,
is
your
in
young
the air.
ass, is out in the world.
Once upon a time, I was a hoe. and I
Oh,
admit it. Listen, what is hot time you was a hoe? That's all you got to say.
Well, let me
But
tell
you
you,
know-
I'm so glad my mother
So
is
no
not a
sex tape,
whore,
you
or
never
my
had
grandmother
none-
was not a
there's
whore,
none-
and I would die.
You
if I was in that
never
situation.
ever had a sex tape.
Who, me?
Yeah, I mean, just even privately.
I would never have. I cannot. That's no.
Would you ever have a sex tape?
He would.
He'll come
Yeah,
back to
let
the,
me
go ahead.
he'll come
Let me
back
go
to the
back to that.
conversation.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna take that as a yes. He's like,
I'm saying no, because I feel like if it's something that's between you and your wife, then that's completely.
but
separate.
even you
Like,
and your
that's-
girlfriend, like, or you,
Girlfriend ain't wife.
right.
I mean, but
right.
you. All right, so yeah. All right, so you're about
in
to
the
tell
context
me.
of a marriage, that's between you and the
No, in
sacred
the
bond that you
context
share
of
with
you
somebody
just having
else. So-
sex, period, point blank. Sometimes you just pull out the camera phone and you know what I'm saying. You have your little
Nah,
special
dog.
videos
I
and
think,
things
I
like
think
that.
for Ray
you.
J, it's like a claim to fame, and it's like if that's your way of,
But
of
they was
becoming
filming a movie.
relevant. Huh?
They was filming a movie.
I mean, but I'm saying like for that, I think that's like the one chord that he will continually come back to and play on for a while because it strikes up the moment. And like I think that was like pop culture relevance for him, and it still is.
Well, Kim K is a little bit more popular than him at this
A little
present
bit.
time, more relevant in a sense.
little bit.
I mean, not a little bit. But
A whole lot of it.
Yeah,
Right.
a
But
whole
my
lot of
thing
it.
is that I'm not with the recording of anything. Let me tell you, if you think you're gonna record me, I'm gonna be just like that guy on that video that's going around where the girl, she's like, "Oh, this is my husband." Oh, something.
And he shut that joint down.
What is this?
She put the camera. Okay, so she's like, "Oh my God, this is my husband. Look at him." And the guy's in the, like behind her, and he's putting on a t-shirt. And when he notices that she's recording him, he just turns off the light, and the whole
Because you
camera
know
goes
what?
dark.
She's fucking up the agreement. Now, she know that she's a side
She
chick.
knows she's a side
and that's
chick.
it. And that's it.
She know that his wife or his girlfriend is somewhere not supposed to see the video, and it was worth it for her to air her dirty laundry and post it to embarrass him.
And then look,
Wow.
that video just
that
happened to go
video
viral.
is everywhere. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. It's the funniest thing. I mean, he just hit that light switch so hard and then started screaming at her about how she knows she's not supposed to be doing that. He done told her so many times that she knows better.
Oh man.
Hilarious. You can't make this stuff up. Like,
No,
you
you can't.
cannot make this stuff up.
She
Right,
was
right,
she
right.
was really
Crazy.
like,
And she was like, "What? What I do?" It was
you know what you did.
Right. You know exactly what you did.
she set him up real good.
Okay, so no sex tapes for nobody in 2017.
Except for you, because you said you like to pull out your camera.
Now,
your
I ain't
phone.
gonna lie. Like, listen, I'm not a celebrity or anybody like that. But at the end of the day, I think everybody has done some type of sex tape or something. Not
That's
maybe
because he
I wouldn't
has.
even say a sex tape. I'd just say a sex clip because it'll probably be like a little clip.
Lordy.
We gonna take a poll. At Drinks and Conversation, we gonna take a poll.
Write it down now. Oh, God.
Y'all seen Meek Mills fall down the damn steps?
You know,
Yeah.
I literally watched that
It
video
was-
probably over 50 times. It's so funny because I couldn't fall like that. Like, when was the last time either of you actually fell down? Like, I haven't fell down in years.
Man,
I think I had it.
Like that.
Well, it wasn't that bad, but I did have a moment coming down the steps one day. I was leaving out of work, had a bunch of stuff in my hands,
Oh,
and I hit a mean slip on the step. It wasn't like his, but I mean, hey, get back up again. You gotta hit that Donnie
Did
McClurkin.
anybody
Just
see
get
you?
back up again. No, and that was the other reason why I'm so comfortable sharing it, because it's not like I have an eyewitness. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that just, it was me. I saw it. That's it.
He
But
said
yeah,
it's not like I have an eyewitness.
I wish I
Right.
would have had a video of me falling one of these days so I could refer back to. But let me tell you, even when I saw me, I'm like, yo, that bush,
Was serious.
that joint saved his life. He lucky it wasn't a thorn bush out here. I fell into a thorn bush before. That joint ain't fun.
Yo,
You know the
I
thing
felt
about
so
it?
bad for him.
I'm looking like you're not looking down these steps, because it seemed to me like the other side of the steps had salt on them and a handrail. So I'm
But
like,
he
that
thought he
wasn't
was
your
on
bad.
a good side. It was that third step with that clear ice patch.
No, what he thought was he thought a ghost pushed him.
Oh,
I was
man.
looking for the ghost. I said, rewind it back 2 centimeters. Let me find out what the arm
He
reached
was
out.
really, like when he was hit the ground, he looking like, who was there?
He looked to see if anybody saw what happened.
He looked up and saw
forgot
that
his mama
camera.
had that camera.
Right,
That
he looked up and
camera
saw
up
that
there.
camera like, you just going
Yo,
on.
I felt bad for him. I know he had to have some whiplash from that fall because it looks serious.
And he probably went back in the house and was like, y'all, I just bust my ass out there. Who
like,
ain't put
"We
the
know."
salt on the damn
They like, we
snap?
know. You want to see?
Right.
You want to see?
We've been
I
looking
know.
at it, looping it for the
Man.
past 20
Meek,
minutes.
Meek, put some ice on it, Meek.
Put some eyes on
Put
it.
some ice on it.
So listen, I just want to go to some serious news real quick because I want to get
Alright.
your opinion on something. So, Dylan Roof, I know y'all heard about the guy. And we all know we experienced a tragedy where the white guy went into a church and killed, I believe, 9 black people as they were praying and things like that. So, concept, the fact that this guy went into a church and he killed people during prayer, and he has just been sentenced to death with the death penalty. My question to you is, what is your opinion on the death penalty in this situation and in general?
Okay, so in general, I can't really say that I've given it a whole lot of thought, but I guess I do think that there are going to be certain crimes that may merit that. I think that the scary thing about that is you started getting into the idea of playing God and decided whether or not somebody deserves to live or die, and that's a gray area completely. But when you were going back and you were explaining it, I thought about,
Why is it a gray area?
because if you're not God, then why is it your place to ever say who lives or dies or what behavior?
So that you would be against death penalty in general.
I guess so, in general. But the reason I say I don't know is because, when you mentioned it, I thought about the crucifixion. Now, Christ was crucified between a murderer and a thief himself. And he still saw to seek, to give mercy to this murderer that was next to him. And that there was a moment of redemption for him. So if Christ, who had done nothing, could be crucified and on a cross next to a murderer, somebody who had taken somebody's life, and see fit that they should have mercy in a moment of redemption, then I don't know if it's my place to ever say that to take somebody's life as a repercussion of what they done.
So
is
let's
okay.
say you were on the jury. Let's say that you were in that position, because we have a jury of your peers, and let's just say you were selected to qualify in that position to say that. I mean, what would be? Could you?
If the choice was death penalty or not, then I honestly say that I feel I would vote for it. But I don't know how much of that is just my human nature out of anger responding to the events that took place. I'm like, you walked into a church and you chose to murder people for no apparent reason. And the treatment that he got thereafter, earlier we talked about the crime fitting the punishment. And I mean, this man was, correct me if I'm wrong, he was taking to Burger King. They had
He had it sweet.
They had a GoFundMe for his bail.
But the thing about it is, he didn't.
He had
at the
support
time,
to earn bail
during his trial, he didn't show any type of remorse. So
He still hasn't
my
shown
question
any.
is, as you as a person with your faith and what you believe in this particular instance, if you were on the jury, would you be for the death penalty or against the death penalty?
I think in that situation, honestly speaking, I would have been for it.
Okay, all right. Icy Toast?
I would have to say that, I'm for life in prison. I'm for you to sit there and have to think about what you did. To do something so gruesome like that, I don't want you to be out, in society with everybody else, but I do feel like you just have to spend the rest of your life in prison. When I say that, an eye for an eye,
So you're against
you're
the
so
death penalty?
tempted. It depends, because I feel like my decision can change. I mean, what if it's my family? What if it's my child? Then I don't know how I'm gonna feel. But for me, not it being my personal family, I can say that I don't want to sit up there and say that I would say, because it doesn't change anything. He dies, and then what? What really changes if he dies? Like, I'm really just trying to think about it and be objective. Like, okay.
To me, the
If he's
difference.
murdered,
Right, but what changes is that there's one less murder in the world. And I don't know if that's right or wrong to say. And that's why I was saying, like, I don't know if it's anybody's place to play God per se. But at the end of the day, you know, I thought about if he was to spend life in prison, right? So that means that he's now subject to a system that is funded by the dollars of taxpayers. So the same people that may hate him for what he's done, in some way, you're in some shape, fashion, or form kind of supporting him. If he's locked up in a federal prison, which he would be, they funded by what, tax dollars?
But I don't see it as support.
I don't see it as support either, because you know, my opinion about the death penalty is that, you know, I don't think we should have the death penalty. I think that you should live out your life in a cell for the rest of your life, and that's what we should have prison for specifically, especially maximum prisons, specifically for murderers and people of that magnitude.
The light of day.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, you don't have the right to be a part of society, but we don't have the right either to take your life, even though you've done your act. We don't have the right to say that you should be sentenced to
life
death.
Life is so priceless. It's like I don't know. That's so heavy to be like.
And a lot of times, and it's been proven that sometimes people get death sentences and on death row, and they're innocent. Just like Jordan Davis, I believe that's his name in Georgia, that are innocent and are constantly on death row, and we kill innocent people. It happens. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time. So unless it's in some type of terrorist type of thing where we got to kill you before you kill us. But if we got you and you're in captivity, the point is you should be locked up. So, well, that's enough of that. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to get your political view on that.
We never really get that heavy over here, but sometimes it's more.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I appreciate it, because it's like, I think that sometimes a lot of hip hop artists don't necessarily get questioned on events outside of their own personal agenda and what's going on with their work or what they're doing.
Well, we want to know what you think. We want to know, you know, we want to get to know you drinking and conversating with us on Drinks and Conversations. So, you know, we want to know. Well, Concept, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for sharing your insight and your expertise and coming on our show.
Absolutely.
And going to be at our event.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. It was a pleasure having you on.
It was a pleasure being here. I can't thank y'all enough for having me.
I love the energy tonight.
Yeah,
I love the topic tonight. Yeah. Got a little deep tonight, you know, think a little bit tonight.
Well, listen, man, you can come back anytime.
You absolutely can. Go ahead and drop your Twitter handle. Go ahead and drop your SoundCloud so you can check out some of his dope music.
Okay, so my Twitter handle is @Christu Nation, CRISTU, Nation in all caps. My Instagram handle is @ConceptThompson. And you can find me on SoundCloud at Mr. Christu. I have 3 bodies of work that are out there right now. My freshman project, Dream Differed, my mixtape, Rise of a Nation, and then another small body of work that I did called The Wonderful World of Volume 1.
Hey, okay. And if they go to your Instagram, the link is there to SoundCloud, so they can just click it.
Correct. Yeah,
all right, that was kind of long, so I was like, hold on. If you go to the Instagram, you can click the link.
Absolutely.
And you can find the music.
Right, and on my Facebook, too. Just click the link.
There we
right
go.
There.
Okay. Man out here working.
What?
Working. And you know, I got to say thank you to Jay, because you gave me some advice almost a year ago, I would say. And I knew I needed to continue to try to get in place to do some of that stuff. And thank you for that. I recently shot my first music video back in December. So right now it's in edits and all that, and I should be getting there soon. So I'm super excited about that. Right now we in the studio working on another project.
In the studio?
We're trying to get it popping in 2017.
And that's what it's about. It's about getting it popping in 2017.
Yes, you gotta
the year to do it.
Live your dream.
Trump ain't holding us back.
No.
We
gotta live your dream.
We are getting it popping, and that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Yep.
Well, we wish you much success, man.
Absolutely.
With all your endeavors.
Yes.
Keep working on that.
Thank you.
Make sure you come back once you drop the video, and we can talk more about everything that's going on with you, brother.
Absolutely.
And like I said, this is Drinks and Conversation.
Hey.
Concept is in the building,
you
y'all.
already know.
Thank ya. We out.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.